Guys, today's video is all about these two guys right here. This is all about the Severum, all the information you need to know about keeping Severums, and why I personally think that these guys are the best cichlid to have in your tank. Without further ado, guys, let's go ahead, let's get right into it. Now, the Severum is a South American cichlid, and something I personally love about the Severums is they are classified as semi-aggressive, and in my opinion, they're one of the most well-behaved cichlids, and they actually get a pretty good size. So as you guys can see, like in my tank, I have some smaller fish mixed in with these guys, and these guys, my Severums, don't really pay attention to any of the other fish. The only aggression the Severums ever show is with each other, which is probably comes down to con-specific aggression. So basically, if you're looking for that centerpiece fish, one that can get a good size and has good personality and has amazing color, then I think the Severum is a perfect choice. Now, these two guys are definitely the bosses of the tank, and no one will mess with them, and kind of in return, no one really messes with each other. You can see all of the fish have pretty much perfect fins, and I think that's mainly because, if there's any sort of aggression going on, the Severums would pretty much break it up. And like I said, as you guys could see, the Severums really only go after each other. That's because, I think they're competing for the tank boss, but you guys can see that, even this guy who gets probably picked on the most, they both have great looking fins. And the Severum can actually get a pretty good size. They can get up to 12 inches long, and they're often referred to the poor man's discus because they're actually a pretty tall fish. And in my opinion, well, the first thing is they're way hardier than discus, and secondly, they can get some crazy good color. Like, this is my red spot Severum, and you guys can see his color is absolutely amazing. And I think both these guys are about 7 to 8 months old. And then this is my red shoulder Severum. This was sold to me as an orange shoulder Severum, so we'll see how this guy's color develops. But you guys can see even he's getting some amazing blues and some oranges on the fins. Also, speaking of color, the thing about Severums is they come in many different colors. You guys can see I have this amazing red spot gold Severum. We have this guy who is kind of like a mix between blues and oranges, and once he gets older, he'll definitely show a lot more color. He's got the most potential, I would say, for sure. But there's also the gold Severum, there's green Severums, turquoise Severums, all different types of Severums. Super red Severums, which are like a very bright red. Those guys look awesome. So there's pretty much a color for you, for anyone out there that wants a specific color. You just got to look for them. Let's talk about tank size for a second for these guys. So like I said, mine are juvenile right now, and I have these two in a 75-gallon tank. And I would recommend minimum, if you're going to keep like one alone or maybe a breeding pair, nothing less than a 55-gallon. I would even say nothing less than a 75-gallon. 75 would be more than enough room for them when they're full size, if it's just like one or two and minimal decorations. Now this tank obviously is going to get crowded, so I do plan on moving these guys to like a 150 or a 180, 6-foot long tank eventually. But as of right now, when they're growing out, the 75, as you can see, it's more than enough room. All right, let's talk about diet. Now, these guys are omnivores, and so basically, they like a mixture between vegetable foods and vegetable matter, and as well as meaty foods. And the nice thing about Severums is they'll eat pretty much anything that I throw in the tank. They are not picky eaters at all. But one thing is, since they do eat like vegetable matter, and they are omnivores, these guys will destroy your plants. So if you guys have plants in your tank, there's a good chance that these guys will pick at them and not leave them alone. So I guess that's something to do. That's something to look out for with caution, for sure. If you have plants in the tank, I would just go with like fake plants if you can. I've also heard like some people have luck with plants at the top of their water, like that, just kind of like lilies or something that stay at the top of the water. But other than that, like plants that are planted in your tank, definitely stay away from those. As far as like water parameters for these guys are pretty hardy. I don't really test my water. I know they like a softer water, and they like their temperature in that tropical range from like 74 to 82. But the thing that I've had the most luck with is definitely just keep your water consistent. Even if it's not perfect, you know, if it's consistent and it's off by a little bit, as long as you do your water changes, these guys aren't gonna have any issues, which is absolutely amazing. The last thing I really want to touch on, guys, is these fish are decently fast growers. They pretty much doubled in size since I got them about 7 months ago. And really, you guys, these fish have grown a ton within the last 2 months. And so they seem to be growing exponentially fast. So, you know, if you plan on keeping them in a 75, just have a bigger tank lined up in the future, maybe like a year and a half. Because these guys are definitely gonna outgrow their tank if they're in a 75. That's just something that I've noticed. If you have them with other fish, like I have these Geophagus tapajos in here, and I have some roseline sharks. I don't know where they're at. There's one over there, and those guys also need their rooms. So if you guys have these fish with other fish, definitely make sure that you can get a decent sized tank, something that you know, isn't too crowded. And I guess a good way to tell if a tank's getting crowded is just manage the aggression level. You know, if everyone looks happy and healthy, then there's a good chance that you don't really need to upgrade their tank if no one's really bumping into each other. Like you guys can see in this tank, there's tons of swimming room for everybody. So that, you know, it's definitely situational. If you just happen to get an aggressive Severum, which like I said, they're, you know, from what I've seen, they're pretty mild mannered, which is awesome. But, you know, once in a while you could get an aggressive fish, and that could, you know, pose problems for you. Maybe you need a bigger tank, or maybe a different aquascape with more hiding spots. You know, every fish is different, but from what I've seen, these Severums, you know, they absolutely love being the tank boss. They're pretty peaceful, and they're just a great option to go with. But that'll about do it for this video, guys. I hope you guys learned something from this video. And if you have any questions on any topics that I didn't cover, make sure to leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll be sure to answer them. Just in summary, the Severum, it's an amazing cichlid. And I think, you know, if you've been thinking about getting one, I think you just got to do it, because these fish, they have great personality, they have a great temperament, they're super hardy, and I think they just look absolutely amazing in any tank. So with that being said, guys, if you're new around here, you know, I appreciate you stopping by, spending some time with me. And if you're a returning viewer, you guys know I appreciate all the support and all the love. So I'll see you guys in the next fish video. Take it easy, guys. Peace out.